let's take the light this way, back some more, and let's rotate it somewhat. Alright, let's take the illuminate, let's make this a little bit lighter. And take the transparency to 45, whoops, 45, oh, that's the opacity, my bad, 5, and we're going to increase the reflection a bit. And we're going to hike up the specular, so we want this to really be blown out. I'm going to do some work with this in, we'll do some work with this in After Effects. So we'll blow this out a bit. Alright, that's looking a little bit better. Still not what I want. It's still too opaque. Let's see here. Let's take the surface color down in there. See how that looks. It's looking a little bit better. Bump up the reflection a bit more. A lot more. Increase the edge intensity too. Alright, let's see how this looks. Alright, let's tilt our light. I'm gonna get more of these cubes in here too. I might have to light these guys separate entirely. Yeah, let's start the cubes from this. And let's have only one light hit cubes and see how that looks. That looks better. Alright, let me rotate my light back, because I gotta get this guy back here lit too. So, increase the radius a little bit more. There. That looks pretty good. I mean, we got some reflection in here. Let's take a look at that. Render a quick frame. Alright, and we got some reflection in here. That looks pretty good. We got some specular over here, some refraction, which is really, really nice, which always looks good. These cubes are intersecting here, though, so I'm going to have to, let me tweak that a bit. Let me change the seed of the random effector. Nah, I want it weighted more on the left. Too much. Alright, let's increase... Nope, too many. Alright, let's move this over like that. There we go. Alright, now we start our animation. Our client wants a... Let's see if I... Well, client wants a 5-second animation with 3-second animation. Want the animation to be 5 seconds long, 3-second tag, and then it animates out the video, which is what they want. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our timeline to 150 frames, so we get all 5 seconds. We're going to start with our logo. Now our logo is going to start here. We want it to land at about 35. So we're going to keyframe 35, go to 0, and then we're going to go right towards the camera till we get just past it. That's pretty good. Alright, so now it's flying in. There we go. Alright, same with our cubes. We want our cubes to come in as well. In fact, I'm going to work on these guys a little bit. I want a whole lot more depth on the Z. So let me increase the Z depth. Not that much. That's pretty good. Alright. Take our Enviro cubes here. And we're going to start at frame 35. And then we're going to grab our cubes, keyframe there, go to 0, and these guys are going to fly in as well. In fact, I think they're inner, and then keyframe that, let's see how that looks. And then we're going to go to frame 110, and we're going to keep them moving. So now when they hit and keep moving, which is good, which is what I want. Alright, now to check, see if I think one of these cubes intersects. Yeah, it does. Alright, we're going to have to move our cloner object down, increase the X a bit, move it over, so we can get right in that little pocket there. There we go, no intersection. Perfect. In fact, let's get rid of this keyframe. Let's go a little bit more on the X, like to there. Actually, you know what? No, that was pretty good. Let's leave it like that. Yeah, we can do some more work on it later. Alright, same with the glass bars. What we want to do is we want to take the random effector, keyframe on the Z of the random effector, and then we're going to right click, add a keyframe, and now we're going to increase the Z a whole lot more. Add keyframe, and then we go to 110 again, and we're going to take it from 723, let's take it down to 650. And let's take it to 600. Let's take it to 500? Yeah, let's see what that looks like. Alright, now because Cinema 4D sets up auto easing on the animation and everything, you'll see it actually, our stuff, these guys actually, they bounce a bit when they come in. So they animate in, you can see the number here is getting smaller all the way down to what, 400, then it starts to increase all the way back up to 500. So we're going to have to fix that in our spline, which shouldn't be an issue. Alright, next up, now the problem is we have our logo flying in and intersecting with the camera. So now we have to make room for it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a real simple, we're just going to move the plates off to the side. We're going to set it to where the plates animate on at 30. So we set a keyframe on the plate, we just need the movement, that's all. Movement keyframe on the left and right plate. And then at 0, the right plate is going to be off to the side. As well, the left plate is going to be off to the side. So now when they animate in, plates come in from behind. Perfect. Alright, now we want a camera motion in this, or else it's just kind of, I mean, it looks okay, but it's kind of bland right now. So keyframe to 35, and we're just going to rotate the camera. Nothing crazy, just a real simple rotation. Grab it and rotate it. Yeah, less than 90. Let's go 60. Negative 60 degrees. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, now we have to tag out. We have our frame at 110 is when everything kind of stops. We want to... Actually, I want to grab the Enviro cubes. I want to keep going even after everything's moved. So, 130, and I'm going to keep moving. Because I don't want the animation to stop once the tag starts to close. I want everything done. I mean, I want it to still I want to still carry that energy as it goes. So at 110 we're going to start. Let's see. We'll bring the CG font towards the camera. And we'll go to 125. It'll just be a half second move. Alright, and we're going to move it towards the camera. We're going to fly right through the circle on this G. It's hokey, and it's kind of cliche, but, I mean, it'll get the goal, is what we want. There we go. Fly right through the circle on the J. Whoop. Circle on the J, or the G. Same thing with the toots. Start at 110. Go to 125. And this is going to follow right behind it. And we're going to go right through the middle of the U here. Actually, let's go between the U and the T. Yeah. Alright. Now we got to get rid of our plates. So our plates are going to go 110, 125. Got to get rid of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate these out. We're going to rotate them around 180 degrees. Negative 180. Keyframe. And then we're going to move them forward a bit and off camera. Same with our right plate. It's going to be, what, keyframe here, keyframe at 110. And this is going to be 180 degrees. This is going to be off camera and forward a bit, so we can line it up. I mean, you know, close as we can. Eyeballing is fine in this case. Alright, let's see how the tag looks. Our stuff flying out. As you can see, once again, we got a whole bunch of extra animation that we're going to have to fix with the splines. And we're going to start doing that right now. Now, we want to keep our camera moving, because right now, it moves, everything lands, and then the camera's kind of static. So let's move it to 130. Let's move the camera forward. There. Make sure that our font's still... Whoop, nope, that's not going to work. Alright, we're going to have to move the font over more. Move it back. Same with our tooth font. We're going to have to move this back. There. now we shouldn't have a problem with the intersecting. Should still be able to see right through it. Good, we still see right through it, which is what we want. Alright, now we load up our timeline. CG2's Plus logo. Alright, let's start from the bottom up. Let's start with our plates. Load up our plates, we have to load up the position, hit spacebar so we bring up our splines, rotation, position, scale, rotation. There we go. Alright, now you can see, let's see if I can, here, I'm going to bring it up, yeah. Okay, so now you can see, as we animate in, here are our plates, and here's this spline animation of our plates. If you remember 8th grade geometry, here's your X, which is time, and your Y is the value of whatever it is we're manipulating. In this case, it's position, scale, and rotation. Alright, so we bring it in, we get to frame 30, that's our keyframe. But since Cinema 4D, it kind of eases everything through all the animation so it looks all organic. But now we have all this extra crap. I mean, look, we're animating this stuff on the X that we don't need. Like right now, you can see all this animation's going on that we don't want. So we want to get rid of that. So we're going to select the keyframe. We have auto tangents on. Turn those off, we're going to have to break the tangents, and then the right time, because we just want to do the right time. We want to keep the left exactly the way it is right now. We're going to take the right time down to 0, and the right value down to 0. That fixes that side, and now we go over here, break the tangents, the left time, because we want to keep the right the same. Left time 0, 0. And now when the plates come on, boom, they hit, they stick, and they don't move anymore. Until we keyframe them again. In which case they fly right out, which is what we want. Okay, so that one's done. What was the other one we had a problem with? Let me move my timeline off screen here. Alright, so we're going to scrub through the animation. That's right. This guy, her glass bars, they're moving too. Alright, we got to fix this too. Now, if there's one thing I can tell anybody about when it comes to doing this as far as animation goes, the more comfortable you are with this timeline, the more you feel, the more that you can do with it, the more you understand about it, the better animator you're going to be, because this is the bread and butter of it. This is actually where it happens. All good animators, all halfway decent animators are at least comfortable with the system right here, with spline animation and interpreting it and manipulating it. So Cinema 4D has these dotted lines. I hope they show up with the compression. Dotted blue lines, this is our highest value right here and our lowest value. Now the problem is we're going, as you can see, from a high value basically linearly down to a low value. We're not flying all over the place, we're not making a sine graph with it. So the problem that we were having was our animation spline because of the way Cinema 4D set it. And I actually have it on my settings where it doesn't do this, but this is the standard setting, so I want to show this so that way you can fix it. Cinema 4D auto tangents everything, so you can see here our spline actually dips below our lowest value, which is why we have that kind of, almost bounce right there, that slow bounce as it comes back up to the value. So what we're going to do is we just got to grab this handle, we just got to move it to where this triangle right here is above the line. That's the only thing you have to do, is just make sure this triangle right here, this handle, is above the line. If it's below, some point of your animation is going to be below the line. So all we got to do is just move it, or basically the handle of your Bezier is just got to be above it. There we go. And so now there will be no bounce. It'll hit and keep sliding in, which is what we want. Perfect. Alright, let's see how that looks. Oh, our camera shakes too. See, we got like it's drunk. Alright, so we gotta get rid of that too. Alright, let's go to our timeline. Load up our camera. As you can see, here it is. And here's the offending thing right here. Alright, break the tangents, go to our right time because it's on the right side of the keyframe, not the left side that we're messing with, the right side. And we're going to change this to 0. There we go. And now rotates in and hits. Alright, now we're going to ease that a little bit more. We're going to grab this and we're going to make it a little bit more of an ease. We're going to change the value to 0. And we're going to increase the time a bit, like that. We're going to get rid of 0 tangent, 0 length, so that way there's no ease in, the camera just rotates. So it should rotate and ease into place. Now we're going to do the same thing with our CG2's Plus logo. Yeah. Let's make this a 0 value so that way it just slides right in. And then the other one, it should be, what? Ah, that was the plates. That's what I'm looking at. Alright, now we're going to make this a 0 value. So now the plates slide in and they hit a little bit easier. There's more of a softer landing. It's got more style to it. There we go. That's not too bad. And actually, you know what? Let's bring the camera to where it's not rotating when it hits. So let's move the camera keyframe forward to, well, not all of them, just the one. Let's move it forward to 30. So that way that comes to a finish as the logo is still coming together. There, that looks pretty good. So animating in. And let's ease that. Let's lower that ease a little bit. So right now, what's it set to? I think it's just a X rotation, or an H rotation? It's a B, okay. And that's at negative 15. Let's make that negative 8. Yeah, see how that looks. That looks better. And everything flies right out. Alright, now we gotta stagger our CG and Toots font animating out. So let's go into our CG Toots font, There we go. Alright, we want the CG out first, so let's move that forward a bit. See how that looks? That might be too far forward. Yeah, we don't want... We want the plates and everything to move off at the same time as the CG moves out, so... Oh, no. Actually, let's move our plates later in the timeline. I should probably show you what I'm doing over here. Alright, yeah, let's move it till after the Toots started animating at least. So CG comes towards the camera, Toots starts coming towards the camera, through the G, through the U, and then we're done. And make sure that we're not intersecting. Very good. Alright. There we go. Alright, so now we gotta render some style frames. We're just gonna render 3 style frames. First things first, we have to render our camera view. So we're gonna save alpha channel straight alpha, rendering the composite project file. Right here. Save, okay. Take that off so I don't have a duplicate. Alright, now we just need current frame. Alright, now we just need 3 frames to show the client, just so we can show them what it's gonna look like and how the feedback's gonna be. Or to get some preliminary feedback. So let's do that. Let's render... let's move our lights with the font light, the spotlight. Yeah, let's move these with the logo so that way it's still illuminated. Keyframe it at 35, and then again it's 0, so let's bring it back a bit. So that way it's still kinda... It's not completely dark as it comes in. That's better. And you know what? Let's move our plates back. In addition to moving them forward. There we go. And back the camera out slightly. Because there's a lot of dead space in the beginning of this animation. We got what? 6 frames? 5 frames? Yeah, we'll do just a real quick fade up. Or flare blast. Alright, so there, we're going to do frame 18. That looks pretty good. Because then they can see how the logo's going to be coming in and everything. So let's do frame 18. We're just going to render this quick frame. We have render settings, current frame, save, results, perfect. I don't want it as a TIFF, I want it as a target. Alpha channel straight alpha, 24-bit dithering. Okay, good. Oh, gotta make sure we have the right render view. Yeah, use this little view down here as a render view. Alright, render this view. There's 1 frame. Alright, now we need a frame of the logo just sitting there. So let's do frame 50? How's that look? That looks pretty good. Alright, let's do that frame. Let's do render frame 50. There we go. Alright, now let's go on. We gotta show how it's gonna be coming off. So let's do like that. Frame 117. Oh, we should move our lights out too. Okay, let's grab our lights. Grab our lights. Set at 110. Let's go to 130. We should move our lights back. Oh! I keyframed the wrong light. 130. 110. And we'll bring our lights back so that way everything kind of stays illuminated. Alright. Let's see how that looks. There. Alright, so let's do that frame. Or let's go a little bit further in. There, that looks pretty good. Frame 116. Alright, render a picture viewer. Render, 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 render. There we go. Now the reason we're doing 3 style frames, slide on over to After Effects here. The reason we're only doing 3 style frames is because rendering, especially if you're in a like a workplace environment, rendering CG Toots plus logo. Rendering takes up a lot of time, and this is time that you can be spent working on something else. So, plus, we don't need to show the client an animation, you know, completed, rendered, composited animation every time. Instead, what you want to do is you just want to show them a few frames, get their feedback, so that way they can see everything, make sure that the logo looks right, it's all designed, it all looks pretty and everything. Alright, let's get rid of that. Whoops, I did correct frame on that. I have to do render, render settings, all frames. Now I need to save that. I can't believe I forgot about that. Save. Yes, I want to replace it. There. Delete this guy. Okay. 3D. There we are. Perfect. Perfect. Much better. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Alright, so we have to set our composition to frames, or else I won't know where I'm dropping these guys. Right. Save. Drop these frames in here. Have our lights and everything, so we'll just drop it down there. Turn off. You see the black. Alright, frame 18. Frame 18. Gonna put a marker right there. Frame 50. Frame 50. Gonna put another marker right there. And frame 116. And frame 116. And we drop another marker there. Grab frame 116, bracket, bracket. Frame 50, bracket, bracket. And frame 18, bracket, bracket. There we go. Here are our 3 style frames in place. So now we add our environment. So now we're going to add we'll put a disk in the background. LF disk. Effect, null light factory, LF disk. Now an LF disk is really simple. It's just let's grab this purple here. It's basically just a giant ball of fuzz. And if if null sounds familiar, it's when you load up Photoshop. Thomas Knoll is one of the guys who worked on Photoshop, and he created this plugin called Null Light Factory, which is probably one of the most important plugins to ever be done for After Effects. It's seriously amazing. That's pretty good. Yeah, a little bit of color in the background. Alright, another thing we're going to do is we're going to do another trick with the disk. This is something I do in nearly all my animations. Null Light Factory, LF disk. We do just a light blue, a real light blue. Like incredibly light blue, like pale blue. There we go. Make it anamorphic, increase the radius a whole lot, and then we just put this up top with a screen. I guess the volume mode on this. With a screen. And what this does is this makes it look like there are lights just off frame, and that it's collecting the dust. And it kind of gives some environment and sense of air and scope and stuff. Now for my absolute favorite plugin of all time, Trapcode Particular. It is awesome. Seriously awesome. This plugin is so versatile. Alright, so there's that. Let's solo it. Alright, so we're using our camera. We should have, I don't want a point, I want to do a box. And I want to increase this to, let's say, 550, 550, 550, We can take down the number of particles a bit. That's pretty good. And we gotta manipulate the particles. Now we need to take down the size, increase the size random a bit. Complete feather. And we're gonna make this, see if it add as an add, see how that looks. Yeah, it still looks a little too. That's pretty good. Alright, let's take the opacity down, because I don't want it to be, you know, I don't want it to look like this logo's flying in the middle of a friggin' blizzard. I want it to look okay. So, more particles maybe? That looks pretty good. Alright, so now let's add a flare to put on the logo. Flare. Now, because we're going to have a 3D camera motion, we got to make this layer a 3D layer. And then we're going to chop it at 0. Alright. Effect, no light factory. And we're just going to make a very basic flare here. Yeah, we'll keep it purple, but we'll make the inner color blue. Don't want a dough ring on it, don't want that star filter. I want the poly spread, but I want it that purple, like a real light purple, but I want it there. Okay, scale up the poly spread, decrease the width a bit, move the position to where it's kind of over the flare too. There we go. Increase the count, make the sides, make them four-sided. Yeah, four-sided. Alright, and we're going to add a stripe. Same deal with that. We're going to add outer color, that purple, and then a center color, a light blue. Alright, and we're going to have to take our glow ball down a bit. Not a ring. The ramp scale, there we are. Take our glow ball down a bit. Alright. Decrease the scale. Make this an add layer. Whoa, that is way too much. How low do we have to go? Doesn't look good at all. Alright, make the inner color, make the outer color not as light. Let's make it a darker purple. That's better. Take the softness of the stripe down, increase the length a bit. Like a laser. Yeah. Yeah. Now we're talking. Alright, so let's keyframe that. Scale, light source location. Let's go to our first frame. We're going to move this over to here. And we're going to increase the scale a whole lot. Because we want this to be like a big bright flash as it comes in. And we go to our final frame. And we want this up top, off to the side. Let's put it up there. And increase the scale again. Alright, so now we have our 3 keyframes that we're going to show our client. Now we're just going to take this, composition, save, frame as file, best settings. This is our first keyframe, so we're going to save this here. We're going to say to client. We're going to call this CG Toots Plus style frame 01. Bling. Let's rename this to CG Toots Plus logo animation. Alright, there we go. Save file, best settings, scroll down. Actually, let's scroll this up a bit. Style frame 02. And there. Composition, save frame as, file, best settings, 03. There we go. Alright, now let's bring these guys up. Client. And here's our style frames that we're going to send off to the client. Here's frame 1. You just kind of explain them. Alright, logo's flying in. I mean, this, you know, these plates are going to be meeting in the middle. Here's what your logo looks like when it's landed. Camera's going to be zooming into it. There's going to be stuff flying around. These particles are going to be moving. The flare's going to be sliding across. Same with these cubes, etc., etc. Then we go down to here, and here's coming out. There's gonna be a matte object inside this, so the video is gonna be on the inside as it flies out, and should look pretty slick. So this is kind of how you explain it to a client, so that way they understand. And we just have these three style frames. As you can see, it was less than an hour, and all of a sudden we have the 3 style frames done, and we have the majority of the animation done. I mean, there's still some more work we got to do in here. I mean, we're going to have to break this logo apart. We're going to have to render it separately, the environment and the logo, so the blending looks a little bit better. The other thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make a matte object and put it inside the G, so that way when we fly through, it'll transition out to the video pretty nicely. A few other things we're going to have to do is, obviously, I mean, we only have 3 frames, and you can see this flare's kind of flying all over the place. So we're going to have to fix that a bit, but that's, that's work that's going to happen when we get feedback from the client. So yeah, now you just send off to get feedback from the client, and then you get to hear what they do. Part 2 is going to be, we're going to hear back from the client, in which case will be CG2+. I'm riveted with excitement because, I'm not the one that's totally writing it. We're going to make the changes that they want. Oh, excuse me. We're going to make the changes that they want to this thing. I have a short list, so that way you can kind of walk through it. And we'll make the changes that we want, then we're going to render an actual animation with the video on it, so that way it's like a sample run, and then get feedback on that, and then the final animation, which is going to be the final render and then the delivery of the product to the client. Hopefully you learned something. Once again, any questions, comments, hate mail, whatever you want, just drop it in the comments or send Caleb an email. I'm sure he loves that. Yeah, and if you have any questions or anything, let me know, and I'll see you in part 2.